Hey guys, welcome back to the show, the MVM Show. I am here today with a special guest. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. We're here today with Chase from somewhere in Wisconsin. I've actually talked to Chase a few times, and we got to become friends over the time, even from the long distance. But it's good to have you here on the show today, Chase. How you doing?
It's good to be here. Good to be here. I love how you say Wisconsin.
That you know what? My other buddy from Wisconsin makes fun of me too. How do I say it? Wisconsin?
You say like you got like a West in there, like West Wisconsin instead of Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Yeah,
Is that better?
Wisconsin. It's all good. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
no, yeah,
I was giving you some grief.
my buddy always said that. You guys say, I'm like, what do we? How do we? I don't hear any difference between the way you say it and the way we say it, but it must be something everybody from I'm gonna say from there says it because. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Chase.
Yeah, my name's Chase, and I live obviously in Wisconsin. I used to be kind of a hardcore bow hunter. I did a lot of bow hunting. All my spare time I spent in a tree stand, from opening day all the way through into late season if I didn't shoot my deer yet. But probably about 7 years ago or so now, my dad had wanted me to get out and do some waterfowling, and he got me out for some wood duck hunts, and I liked it, but I was always thinking about deer when I was duck hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And then one year we got on some mallards kind of early in the year, and we shot a few of them. And I think from that moment on, in my mind, it just switched from deer hunting to duck hunting. And every time I was deer hunting, I was looking for ducks in the sky, and I was just always thinking about duck hunting. So I've been hard into waterfowling probably like the last 5 or 6 years. The first three were like, yeah, this is okay, it's fun, but I don't know, those mallards just got me hooked, and I'm chasing them ever since. So
That's awesome. What do you
yeah.
think the moment was? Do you just did you kind of fall into it and didn't even realize the passion that overtook for waterfowl? I mean, like what was that?
I actually remember the moment because my dad finally talked me into going out to the river. It was like probably the first week in November, which in Wisconsin, that's like prime rut, prime tree stand.
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, I was like, I'll take my bow with me. I'll go hunt the public land out there on the river in the evenings, and I'll duck hunt during the day. Well, we got out there, and that first morning, I mean, there were mallards everywhere. They just must have had a good push of birds come in like overnight or the night before, and no one had hunted them. And I think between my dad and I, we shot our limit of mallards. And it's actually one of the first duck hunting videos I ever put on my YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not a lot of duck hunting in it. It's like an old crummy camera that I was using. And but we just had mallards working us that morning, and it was like, okay, this is what it's all about. This is what my grandpa always used to talk about, how because my grandpa was a big waterfowler too. In the area that we hunt in Wisconsin, he kind of grew up on that area and hunted that same area, so he loves to watch those videos too. That's actually why I started recording those. But really, just hunting those mallards, that really got me hooked. And it was that first weekend. It was the first time I ever saw a mallard work. It'd swing out, and I wasn't a very good caller at the time. My dad didn't call too much either, but they would still work us, and they just drop right in. And seeing big groups of mallards coming to the decoys is pretty cool.
Yeah, there's nothing quite like it. And I've done a lot of big game hunting myself. I actually was born and raised on elk hunting and mule deer hunting. So to go from that, my dad, I always give my dad a hard time because he's like, he just don't comprehend it. He's like, I don't know why you want to be out there in the muck and the mire is what he calls it, when he's all, you could be out there in the rut with the elk and the bugling and the bow. And it's like, yeah, that is a rush for sure. And it's fun. And I'm an outdoor guy. So, that's all fun. But there's just, to me personally, there's nothing quite like waterfowling. Just that's me.
Yeah, it's different. I like that I get to go out, spend time with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
If I go deer hunting, it's just me in a tree stand by myself. Right. You might see some deer, you might not. It's a lot more fun to get out there with a buddy or your dad. I mostly hunt with my dad, mm-hmm. and I enjoy every minute of it.
Yeah, you can tell. Your dad. I mean, it would be fun to hunt with you, but your dad just looks like a crack up. Like I just think I laugh at him so much when I watch your videos because he just gets so pumped. And you guys, me and Thomas are how we are. We argue and fight, and you guys just crack me up. But it looks like you guys have a good time.
Yeah, we do. I cut a lot of the fighting out of there. I don't know why I do it because it's pretty funny.
Right.
I need to include more of it.
You should, because maybe
we bicker like crazy. Just about the dumbest things.
That's so funny. That's just like me and Thomas too. But for some reason, when it's someone else, it's a lot more entertaining.
Yeah.
But yeah. So guys, if you're listening to this, check out Chase's channel somewhere in Wisconsin, and go subscribe to it. Check it out. You guys will enjoy it. It's waterfowl content. Like he said, he does a lot of archery stuff. Chase, what else? Your social media. Tell us where we can also find you too.
Yep. So I'm on YouTube. I have a small Instagram page. If you ever need to get in contact with me, that's where it seems like most people get in touch with me on Instagram. I do post a little bit on there. I post some stories and stuff. I do a little more barbecuing and stuff on there. I also have a Facebook page that I don't use a lot, but whenever I post a story on Instagram, it posts on that Facebook page as well, and that's also called Somewhere in Wisconsin. And then last year, earlier in the year with a buddy, I started up a waterfowling page on Facebook. It's called Midwest Waterfowl Flyway.
Oh yeah.
It's a private group. We try to keep it clean in there and just share hunting stories, bird reports, cool gadgets, things like that. So that's where you can find me on the socials.
Sweet. All right. So, man, we already went about 6 minutes deep into this podcast. But we're going to talk about, and this is not a negative, because I kind of debated this. I was like, okay, is this a negative? Would people think of this as being a negative? It's not a negative. It's a reality. And we're going to talk about what can go wrong, basically. And I guess we'll refer pretty much straight to duck hunting, right, Chase? And just kind of go over things that go wrong when we're hunting. Yeah.
Straight to duck hunting. I'm going to have a couple bow hunting stories too, but we can stick to duck hunting today.
Okay. So let's first, we actually did a podcast on this, and I don't know if it'll probably be after this, but we talked about some gun issues and stuff. But what's some things that you have seen go wrong in the field as far as guns, having gun issues?
Yeah, actually that was one of my main topics I talked about. My dad shoots an 1187. I think it's a 1187. It's a Remington.
Mm-hmm. Good gun.
And the thing shoots like it. He rarely has issues with it, but it seems like when he has issues with that gun, it always has to be apart and in pieces next to the blind in the mud, and then you have birds working all over and around you. It just always happens at the worst time. But I only remember that happening like 2 times to him, and one time it didn't eject a shell and it got kind of like jammed in there and stuck, so he had to take everything apart. But my issue with gun issues is in that cold weather in Wisconsin is just shells not ejecting out of mine. I shoot an A300, and I think your brother actually shot that too for a while.
The Outlander.
And I have the hardest time getting that second and third shell to eject. I've tried running the gun dry. I've tried running it wet, but it's like as soon as it hits in the 20s, it just locks up. It'll shoot the first shell, it'll eject it, and the next shell won't load in fully. So it'll go click, then I got to eject that shell, and then the next shell will load in. By that time, it's too late.
Man, that's frustrating.
So my like pet peeve is just my gun not working the way that it's supposed to. So this off season, I actually bought a new spring for it, and I cleaned up the back side of it. So hopefully that helps. But if it does not eject a shell one more time, I'm fixing that problem, and I'm going to buy a new gun.
Are you? I will
do it that day.
Are you really?
Yeah. I'm that tired of it. Yeah.
So, I mean, what would be your next gun that you bought if you do have to buy one? Hopefully that doesn't happen, by the way. But
yeah, I've been debating Franke Affinity Elite probably.
Those are nice.
So that's kind of what I'm saying. I don't have a huge pocketbook, so I can't spend $1,800 on a gun, but I could probably spend $12-13.
Yeah, because I mean, if you get those in black, they're not that bad. It's when you just get the camos where every brand too, it just goes way up.
Yeah, but I'd be okay shooting an all black gun. That doesn't bother me really.
Yeah, I mean that's what I shot. That's so cosmetic. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's just about, oh, that looks cool, that looks nice. But in all reality, I could care less. You know what I mean? Like,
As long as it doesn't shine, really, that's my biggest thing.
exactly. Yeah. So you could save a ton of money. If anybody's listening and you haven't bought a gun, you're wanting to buy a shotgun, I'm just give you that tip right now. You're going to spend a lot less buying a black synthetic gun than you are going to get that camo. But if you have extra couple $200-$300, you can definitely do that. My thing.
Yeah, and here's the thing with that Beretta that I have too. I mean, I love it. It shoots perfect all summer. I shoot a decent amount in the summers, once or twice a month.
Yeah.
It never has a failure, ever, all year long, until it hits like low 30s, upper 20s. And then it's just a pain in my butt, ready to throw it overboard.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, you want to just, dump it.
Yeah. And I have a hunt from this last year. It's actually, we were hunting divers out on Green Bay. And it was like every group that came in, I was getting 1 shot off, 2 shots off.
I remember that.
It was just, that was like the last straw. I think I bought the springs that day, and then I learned how to clean out the whole back end of that recoil spring in the back by the stock.
When you say clean it out, are you talking about you shaved it down, or are you just saying cleaned it?
No, so on the Berettas, you can take off the stock, and inside of there's a spring. And there's like one video on YouTube to show you how to do this. There's a spring you can take out and a tube in there. So you take that spring and the tube out and you just clean it. You put a very light oil in there. And then I replaced my spring. I put a new spring in there. Can't remember where I ordered the spring from, but I just popped a new spring in there. I used it during late goose season, which is cold out, but the gun's not getting wet ever. There's like zero moisture, at least for the most times that I was hunting this late goose season. And it went off every time. So hopefully I fixed it, but we'll see. I'll know as soon as we get into late October.
When you took the spring out, did you compare the new one with the old one? Did it look like it was a little bit?
It didn't feel or look that much different, to be honest. The newer spring seemed a little bit stiffer, but not much. It was supposed to be a little stiffer spring anyway, I believe. Just from the little tiny bit I read about it.
Well, have you had those issues since you first bought it? Or did you buy it used?
So, no, I bought it new. So, like my first 2 seasons, I didn't do a lot of late season hunting or even mid-season hunting. I just did some opening day stuff because I was bow hunting a lot. And then the 3rd year, no issues with it. I did more late season hunting. I think it was around the 4th year it started, where it was like, why isn't this thing going off? And then it was like, oh, I just need to put some more oil in there. And then it would go bang the rest of the day. Then the next time, it just progressively has gotten worse.
Okay.
So I think it could be the spring, and just
maybe
sounds like
that's what that would be. Yeah. If it's progressively getting worse. Yeah.
And I will, if I fix it and it helps, there will be a video on it saying that, dude, this works.
Yeah. If it's progressively getting worse, that sounds like it's got to be that. Hopefully for your sake it is too, for sure. Yeah. Because you're happy with the gun, right? It's just if it keeps getting only 1 shot out, that just ain't gonna work no matter how you look at it. Yeah,
I'm happy with the gun. I'm happy with Beretta. I had another issue with the fore end on it. It just split. It was a wood gun, or it is a wood gun. And Beretta fixed it even after the warranty was up. So, kudos on them for doing that. They didn't have to do that, but they did.
That's cool. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a lot of experience with this, but let's go into things that go wrong with boat issues. Some tips and advice you can give there, things that you've seen go wrong that you could maybe fix?
Yeah, I think our biggest thing is just making sure that you're running it even when it's cold outside. So like in between hunts, start the engine up, let it run for a second, make sure it's good to go. Because the ultimate, I guess, catastrophe is you get out in the middle of nowhere, maybe you don't have service, and then your boat doesn't start. Yeah. So between me and my dad, we got a couple paddles, and we've got a trolling motor on the boat too that's kind of a backup. And we never leave the launch without, paddles and the trolling motor, making sure that works. But we use a lot of, we've been using a lot of older, just reliable motors that start and continue to start. We don't really have many electrical things that can go wrong with them or anything like that. So we got to pull them and hope they start. But usually we've had good luck with our motors and things like that. Another big thing that I wrote down here before we got started today was, make sure that you have on those cold hunts, especially in Wisconsin, a dry bag with some extra clothes, a sweatshirt, some thermals, maybe an extra hat, gloves, socks, things like that, just in case you happen to take a dip in the water. So you have some spare clothes to throw on in case of emergency.
That's a good idea, especially where you guys are at. When it gets that brutal cold, you could get serious hypothermia. That'd be
and there's
bad.
a lot of times too where we put our boat in, and you got to drop it in through the ice. Not drop it in, but you got to back in, break the ice to get it in the water. So you're out there and it's 20 degrees all day. That ice is getting thicker and thicker, and you got to make sure you're ready for it. And that if you do happen to take a dip, you're ready and have some warm clothes or can make a fire or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a really good point. I appreciate that because, I mean, that's something I would like to know because, I mean, eventually me and Thomas have been talking about getting a boat and having a boat since last year, and that's really something I don't know why I haven't done, but to hear things from you guys that have experience with it, it's good to know and good to like be mentally prepared when it does happen. But what's your boat setup? I mean, how long is your boat?
So I could do you want me to go through like the history of our boats?
Yeah.
Or just do you want like what we're running right now?
Well, what are you running right now?
Right now we got a 16-foot Mod V, and it's just a John boat. I think it's like a 1648 or a 1652. I'm not even sure. And it's aluminum, but it does the job. It's a little bigger than what we've had. It's a little taller on the sides so that we can get out on the Mississippi River if we need to. And on the back of it, we just got a 30-horse outboard, and it runs. We actually bought that boat before last season. I did a few videos on like putting the lights in, putting the nav lights in, putting a floor in there. So it was like a boat build series that I did last summer. Yeah. And it turned out really good. My dad camoed it up. I put some, I think it's called hydroturf in there, just on the deck and stuff and on the seats. Turned out really good. And it's not like, I think we bought the boat. I mean, I don't even know what we bought it. It's super affordable. Like, we don't have a ton of money, extra money laying around.
Right.
And I think we spent we looked for boats for quite a long time. And after 3 months, we found something in our budget and we pulled the trigger on it, bought it, and made it into ours. So, and
That's
we
awesome.
love it. We couldn't be happier with the boat. It does what it has to do, and we get where we want to go.
Right. Now,
for the most part.
How much do you think that boat weighs?
It's light. It's an aluminum boat. I couldn't tell you. You just look up I think it's a low.
I mean, if you had to like manhandle it over something, I mean, could you actually do that?
Between my dad and I think we could. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one we could. Our 14-footer we for sure could because we had to do it once or twice. This one, I mean, the motor on the back is probably 150 pounds, and the boat itself isn't terribly heavy. It's just an aluminum boat.
Right.
Depends how much water's in it from the dog usually, but
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you could. We don't really do too much of that though, where we have to drag it over stuff.
You're right. Do you have areas where that could be an issue for you that you just avoid because you don't have the right setup? Yeah,
if we had a better rig, we could get to hunt a lot of different places.
Like a mud motor.
Like if we were running a mud motor or like a longtail or something.
Yeah.
We could get to a lot of spots and hunt a lot of spots we don't hunt, even like locally where we are. There's just a lot of marshes that you'd hate to get stuck in the mud or the muck or whatever. So we just don't even really try.
Well, that's cool.
We hunt the river quite a bit in the fall. Like, I'll leave my house at 1 a.m, get to the river by 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, throw the boat in, hunt all day, camp the night, hunt the next day, and then come home.
That's cool. Because you're a school teacher, right?
Yeah. So I don't get a ton of vacation times. I get 2 personal days a year, and then whatever holidays that the kids are off for, I'm off for those as well.
That's why you're hunting more in December, Christmas break, and all that stuff.
Yeah, I do a lot of goose hunting in December. I need to plan a trip somewhere, like right before the holidays or right after the holidays, fit it in. That'd be kind of cool.
What, you mean out of state or what?
Yeah, out of state, because our duck season closes December 4th, or around like the first week in December.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And our late goose season opens up for the holidays here in Wisconsin. So we hunt pretty hard the geese the last 2 years. We just kind of got into them the last 2 years. But last season, we really hunted the geese hard, late season.
So, I mean, going out of state, are you talking like kind of nearby states, or are you talking about like California?
Well, that actually would be kind of fun, wouldn't it?
You should come out here, man.
Illinois, I live right on the Illinois border. I actually work in Illinois, and I live in Wisconsin. And Illinois has their duck season's open like 2 weeks, I think, after ours.
Oh, okay.
So that's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go a little farther south into Illinois, they're open even later in the season. But there's a lot of states around here that are open that are within 12 hours. You got Nebraska, South Dakota.
Yeah, all good hunting.
They're open. And those are just meccas,
Right.
There's so many ducks there.
Yeah. You're definitely close access. It's probably a good thing I don't live close to those places. My wife never see me the whole duck season. We already got, she's like, you are not doing more than 2 trips this year. And I said, hey, easy. Take it easy. But no, I got to definitely
Do you have several planned?
No, I don't, because that, having this new job, I'm making a lot less. I'm like making a third of what I made. So I don't have, the funny thing is with it is I have more time off. And I make okay, but I can't just go spend because I'm off. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of a catch-22. Like now that I have less money, I have more time off, but I can't go be spending on my week off because I do the air ambulance right now. So week on, week off. So it's an incredible schedule for duck season. I'm like stoked, because I could literally hunt for 3 solid weeks a month for the whole duck season. If you
take off 1 week or what?
No. So what it is,
you're just saying the way the schedule is.
The way the schedule is, I'm off for a week, so I can hunt that whole week every day if I wanted. Then, when I'm on nights, I'm on 7 days of nights. So I start at 7 at night and get off at 7 in the morning, so I could go hunt after that. Because air ambulance is like a firefighter. You don't go out unless you get called, so you could sleep at night. It's not like you're up all night. I mean,
right.
if I got called, I'd be hammered, and there's no way I'd be able to. But it just depends. Wintertime, though, calls slow down because of weather and stuff. We can only fly, But anyways, I was just saying, the way that works out, it's 3 weeks a month, and, I could go like crazy. So I definitely got a couple trips. We got a Flyways Collective trip planned, and then I kind of I guess we haven't put that out exactly what we're doing yet, but that's on the works. And then we got one other trip planned with just the guys that I hunt with all the time, Travis and Thomas, but
cool.
Other than that, so hopefully you're getting out too.
I really liked that series you guys did up north of you. I can't remember. Was it in Washington?
Yeah, that was fun, man.
Yeah.
That was so.
That looked cool.
It was. It was just. I never really did where you just go with the guys you've hunted with your whole life in an out of state, and you just hunt every day. It was just honestly, it was the best thing I've ever done in my life. It was the funnest thing I feel like I have ever done. We were all relaxed. We were off work. And all we were there to do is to duck hunt. And it was just it was the best time of my life, honest to God. Besides, your kids and getting married, all that stuff. I mean, that was one of the big time highlights of my life for sure. It was very fun.
I feel like as a hunter too, it kind of gets you out of those ruts, you go to those spots. It's they're always good. I think there's going to be ducks there. You're kind of guessing because you're a weekend. We have to guess a lot, my dad and I. So we just kind of go to where we're confident, but doing something like that would get you out of your comfort zone, make you go find the ducks, and instead of just going and sitting somewhere where they might be.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. That first day, Travis was almost talking about going home. He's like, there's no ducks. And that was a pressure, like you said, we've never really dealt with it. You go to your go-to spots, And that could be almost part of this topic is, things that go wrong. You going out of state, you spent all the money, you drove, 14, 15, 20 hours. Now what? There's no ducks.
Yeah. Yeah. It'd be nice to have a security blanket, someone who there, which is, I think a lot of times that's kind of how you approach it anyway.
Right.
You'd rather go somewhere where somebody might have some insight, but.
Yeah, that's definitely, but boy, it was worth it. And now we know so much more about the area, so we know where we can move and maybe find some other spots if maybe they're not where they were at last year or whatever, but
yeah, that's cool.
Anyways, now, so
that's awesome.
Spots already occupied. That's something every single duck hunter deals with. What about yourself? I mean,
yeah, so this goes with probably one of my craziest duck hunting stories of all time. It was opening day 2 years ago or maybe 3 years ago. Actually, it was the first official YouTube video I made. And it was on opening day in Wisconsin. And my dad and I like to go and find these little holes back in the islands, in the woods and stuff, on the Mississippi River in the backwaters. And we don't usually expect to see people, especially because we get out and we actually walk. Like we'll take our boat back in there and then we'll walk to these spots. So my dad and I, we get down to the launch at like 1:30 in the morning. We sleep in the car until we see the first set of headlights. As soon as the headlights come, the boat's already in the water. We just jump in the boat and we go. And we get to our hole we scouted the weekend before. There's pretty many wood ducks in it, at least enough for my dad and I. We can only shoot 3 each. And we're to our spot by probably 2:15 in the morning, maybe 2:30.
Mm-hmm.
And we're sitting there. We take a nap, waking up about, I don't know what time the season opens. I can't remember exactly, but it's probably an hour before sunrise. All of a sudden we see these flashlights coming like from where the actual main river is, where the main river channel is. And these guys are walking in with these flashlights and we're shining our lights at them so they see us, and they see us the whole way. They're walking in. They keep coming. My dad and I'm like, what the heck is going on with these guys? They literally come and sit 40 yards next to us. No lie. 40 yards. I am not lying. I'm not exaggerating. In the video, you can see ducks fly by us, or actually they're off screen and they're flying like from the right to the left on the camera. And these guys shoot and the ducks fall right in front of us.
Oh my goodness.
It was unbelievable. And their reason was, so apparently they had a blind there. We didn't see their blind because we went in at 2:30 in the morning. We also built like a small blind, but we didn't make it obvious enough apparently because they didn't see it when they were in there the night before. Apparently they were camping on this island, probably 3/4 of a mile from where my dad and I were sitting. So they didn't hear us come in. They just saw our lights and they were like, well, we built these blinds just by the time we're going to sit here. And by the time they came in, it was already a half an hour. By the time they got to the blind, they just were going to come in and hunt that morning. By the time they got to the blind, we couldn't even like make a move at that point. We're like, okay, I guess it's just like we're hunting with buddies. We're all hunting the same hole. So we kind of stuck it out. And it was weird. I mean, I think my dad and I shot 3 ducks that morning and they shot their 6. And then they were out of there and they didn't come back. We didn't see them in there anymore the rest of the year. It's kind of weird.
That is weird.
But
you
that's a situation where we were in our spot. We were there first. We're on public land. The etiquette is you go to your plan B. Like,
right.
That should be what happens. That's what my dad and I do. And
that's
it
just etiquette.
It was kind of wild.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, like you said, that's just plain decency and courtesy and etiquette. I mean, if people don't know that, then there's not much you can do at that point.
Yeah, and I don't know that these people, I think they go out there on the island, they probably drink too much, and they just get up in the morning, that's like it's more of like a party for them.
Yeah.
They just show up and then go hunt in the morning. They camp out there for a couple days beforehand, and then they hunt one day, and then they're gone. They're not even there like on Sunday morning. The next day, they're not even in there anymore. So they just show up, they shoot their 6, their 3 birds, and then they bounce.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we try to avoid those people on opening day now. We just go try to find another hole somewhere else.
Right. All right, let's move on to the next topic. New dogs. That is I can speak I should actually do a podcast on that. That might be something we have to do together. But let's hear your take on it, Chase. New dogs learning issues with that. Yeah.
I think my dad hunted his dog the first year you hunted
Rocky, huh?
Rocky, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I remember seeing that.
I'm not 100% sure on that. The hardest thing for me as someone who I was not the owner of the dog.
Yep.
It was my dad's dog, so
you don't have the patience he does.
Say that again?
You don't have the patience and compassion like he does because it's not yours.
A little, kind of, but it's also, I guess my expectations were higher too, in a way.
Yeah.
So, like, the dog is a really good dog. He's supernatural, but it was almost like he could be better. Like, watching your Rocky videos, like he could be better. And, I give my dad ideas and things to work on, but he knew what my dad knew what he wanted in his dog, which
Mm-hmm.
is it's his dog. That's his right, you know? So, and I had to just become okay with that. Like he wanted him to go get the birds. He didn't need to have him point in a direction and do all this fancy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Cause it was his dog and he knew what he wanted in his dog and his dog is exactly what he wanted. So I had to get used to that. I also had to get used to like also not trying to like act like he's my dog too. Like that was the hardest part for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I was around him a lot. We hunt together every weekend. So, you know, it's like sometimes you just get caught like giving the dog direction. It's like, why am I doing that? It's not my dog. My dog's
Yeah.
at home on the couch because she's a couch dog.
Yeah, I never thought about that. It was really hard for Thomas that first year. And see, I warned him though. I said, hey, you know what? Are you okay with this? Are you okay hunting with Rocky? Because it is a new dog, and the first month or two is going to be kind of tough because it's going to probably happen where flaring birds, because I'm out there. I'm not going to try to train him in the duck pond necessarily. Like, I'm not going to teach him something
Right.
new out there because I want to kill birds just as much. But
Yeah.
like that first hunt, I didn't even have my shot. I didn't even shoot or nothing. I was just focused on working with Rocky, and that's hard for me to do too. But I knew it'd pay off to have a good dog. But there was just times when I'm out there with him trying to get him to listen and do something or pick the bird up. Maybe he's like, what's going on? If the bird's kicking or you know, he had a really bad experience that first hunt with the coot. That was just something like I'll never do again with the new dog. It's a funny story. Actually, it's hilarious, but it has come back to bite me more than once. Still to this day, it gets less and less, but we shot that coot, and if anybody knows anything about coots, they're very aggressive and they're like chickens. They're not even like a duck. They got a beak, not a bill like a duck, and they will bite the snot out of you. Like I told Thomas there was no ducks, and I said shoot him. So he shot that coot. We thought it was dead, and I sent Rocky out after. Actually, Rocky saw it fall, so that was good. Or I think if he didn't see it, he saw the rustling in the water. So he's out going there to grab it. No fear. He's used to picking up frozen ducks, basically. You know, I let them thaw out so they can kind of get a little bit warmer, but, you know, it's not the same. And he goes to pick it up, and that thing clamped on his nose, and he let out a yelp and jumped back, and he would not pick it up. He came back to me. I was so mad. I was like, get back there. Fetch it up, you know, because he was already force-fetched. And then ever since then, even now, if it's kicking a little too much, he just don't have the aggression that I would like to see. He'll still pick him up, but he wants to pick him up the right way to where that foot doesn't go down his throat or they don't kick. And it's like, it drives me nuts, but it's my own fault because he had that experience, and every time he goes to pick up something that's flinching or moving, he kind of makes sure, you know, the way he picks it up. And it's like, oh, well, ain't nothing I can do about it now. There really is not, you know? So yeah, those are little tidbits, you and I, the experiences that we've had out in the duck pond, we can give people that you wouldn't know unless you had it happen to you.
Right. You know, it's kind of amazing how quick they learn though, once they're out there.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of wild to see the first time out. He doesn't really know what he's looking for. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's just like playing in the blind and wandering around and getting us all muddy and knocking over our guns, you know. And he'll sit and he'll follow directions, and then you shoot a bird and it's like he heard the bang. He knows what that means. And you send him on the bird and they come back, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, it clicks now. And now he's like looking in the sky for these birds. It's just wild.
Yeah.
That's kind of the cool, one of the cooler things about not owning the dog is I could just watch him.
Oh, the
After
progression.
I got used to not trying to like be the dog owner.
Yeah.
Just watch him. It's like, wow, this thing is amazing. It's amazing how fast they learn it, and that passion for them to go get a bird.
It's in him, man. It is cool. I watched the progression of your dad's dog, and I was like, man, just seeing, like you said, and capturing it out on film is just a cool thing too, you know?
Yeah.
But so is your dad's dog going to be 3 or 4, or how old is?
This will be his 3rd season.
Okay. So it's Rocky's
And
3rd too.
We got him in like October, but he didn't hunt the first year, obviously. So he's probably 4. I think he'll be 4 like in October.
Okay.
If I remember right.
Rocky will be 3 in November.
Wait, no, this will be my dad's third season. This will be his third season.
So he's probably the same age. He's probably the exact
Yeah,
same
I think
age.
he's the same age as Rocky.
Yeah. I forgot his name again. The dog's name again.
His name's Taylor.
Taylor. That's right. Yeah.
Well, yeah, his name is Taylor Made. Like so my dad and I played college baseball.
Golf too.
And
maybe?
What's that?
Golf. That Taylor. I always think of golf when you say Taylor Made.
Yeah, so Taylor Made. So like, Taylor Made, like a double play, a Taylor Made double play.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever heard that phrase or
Uh-huh.
saying, but yeah, so he named him kind of after that, but he named it a Taylor. He spelled it Tailer, like he's tailing a bird. And Made, like he's his mate. He goes and gets his birds and does all the dirty work. So that's why he named him Taylor Made.
That's funny. I didn't know that.
But he just goes by Taylor,
Yeah. Yeah, I liked watching any dog work, and it was fun when your dad says Taylor, he just dives and goes. It's cool.
Yep, he does.
Excited to see what they do this year.
He's a good dog, and he had a really good year last year. Like, and it got to the point where there were hunts too where I would have shot my birds, and my dad wanted the dog to work, but then we would just kind of switch roles, and he would let me work the dog a little bit, and then he would do the shooting. So
that's cool. Right on.
Yeah.
All right, just a couple more things, and we'll wrap this up and let you get to your evening. But ice on cold days, you're gonna have a lot more experience on that. Tell us a little bit about that, issues with ice.
Yeah, ice on cold days. Last year. So one other thing to try and avoid to all you duck hunters out there, just a little word of advice: don't have a baby on November 6th of duck season, because you miss an entire month or more of duck season. So that's what happened to me last year. So avoid Valentine's Day, like all around that day. Just be smart, do the right thing,
play it safe.
Because November will come around, you'll be regretting that choice.
Okay, but you actually had an excuse, because I was giving you a hard time the other day, saying, "What are you thinking?" And then you said
we weren't.
You guys were, but you guys said you were trying for a while, so that makes it okay. Then
it does. But just just general word,
yeah.
Don't have a baby in November.
Be smart, guys. Just because duck season's over, and you're stood up in the house, don't mean you need to do that kind of stuff. Think about the dates.
Exactly. But during that time, my dad actually went out to the river by himself. He was going to hunt. He drove. We don't really have we don't have a scout out there. We don't have anybody tell us how's it going. I mean, we have one or two guys out there that will message me on Instagram once in a while and let me know if there's birds around. But at the time, we didn't really know many people out that way. And he drove all the way out to the river, pulled his boat out there. He stayed in a little motel out there, and every single launch was ice. This was November, probably 10th last year.
Wow.
And it was like inches of ice, an inch or two of ice at the launches. Couldn't get in anywhere, at least in the area we hunted. So he drove all the way out there, searched for spots for a couple days, was going to walk into a spot, but he was by himself. So it kind of been kind of a pain for him. He's 65, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have been tough for him to get into some of those spots if he was going to walk in. And he ended up coming home the next day after he drove around looking for spots to get the boat in. But so, if you drive a long ways, you got to make sure you can get in the launches, obviously, because that's what ice is up first.
Yeah.
A lot of times are the shorelines and stuff. And then another thing is, too, I think I mentioned this already, but make sure you have that dry bag of clothes.
Yeah.
Make sure you're ready to go.
That could save your life.
Sledgehammer. Sometimes, you need a sledgehammer and a shovel to break that ice off the actual boat launch so you can get into the water. There might be water there, but the whole launch is ice, salt, or sand. Any of that stuff is helpful too.
That's good.
Or two trucks. One guy backs in, puts the boat in, can't get out. There's another truck there to pull the truck up and out of the water.
Oh, really? Have you had that happen?
We have not personally had it happen, but I've seen it happen at the launch once.
Wow. What was holding them in?
So once you get the boat in the water, there's no ice, right? Because you're under the water.
Yeah.
The wheels are under the water, but from people pulling boats out, it would ice up on the boat launch. So they would get up out of the water, and then their wheels would just spin. They couldn't get over the ice that had formed on the actual boat launch.
Oh, wow. I never even thought
so
of
they
that.
had to have, so a buddy hooked up, 50 yards in front of them where it was dry because there wasn't any water running down off the boats when they come out. And pull them out that way.
I never even thought of that. That's a good, because it's freezing so fast, huh?
Yeah, it's just, I mean, you put a bunch of boats in the morning, it's not really an issue. But you come back at the end of the day or 10 o'clock and everything's frozen.
Mm.
On really, really cold days, where it's like some of your first cold days of the year.
Yeah.
Where the water's like really close to freezing anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, ice hunting is fun though. I mean, when there's ice and you get in some current, you have a lot of good luck up here in Wisconsin.
Well, last but not least, and this is something I could speak of real quick before you say something, buddies running late. That is something, that is a no-go. If that happens, I tell you right now, I will leave and have left people, even if they're like, 20 minutes. I'm like, dude, there is no 20 minutes. That's why 15 minutes early is on time. So you better be 15 minutes early, because it's funny, though. People that can never be on time for anything, for duck hunting, they will show up because they know they are getting left behind. And that is just something, I mean, because the reason out here that's important, like, so if I have a reservation for a certain refuge, a low number, you miss that time window, which is right at the beginning, like super early. You miss that, you might as well just go pack your bags and not even go, or find somewhere else to go, because they don't look like, we wait for the guy to get here with a number one spot. If you have a number one resi and you don't show up on time, guess what? They could be at number 15, 16 by the time you get there, and they don't mean nothing. A number one doesn't mean nothing when you get there. So
can you explain how that works a little bit?
So you put in.
We don't really have anything like that around here.
Yeah, you put in at the beginning of the season. It has to be 2 weeks in advance for the hunt day itself. So I do it for the whole season in one shot. But like, say if I don't know, it's October, or middle of August, and I want to put in for opening day or whatever. I'm just giving an example.
Okay.
I can go in, and there'll be a whole list of every single refuge in California, duck hunting refuge, public land, duck hunting refuge, and I can put in for it, right? And all I do is pay a fee. It's like, I don't remember if it's $2.25 or what per day, per hunt day I put in. Actually, if you guys are listening, you want to know more about that, we did a podcast, a whole episode on that, but that was a long time ago. It's probably literally, I think it's like number 7 or 8. It is a long time ago, and this is episode 65, so it's been a ways back. But anyways, you put in for that, you pay your $2. Like I said, I do a lot more than just one day, but if you want to do that, you put in $2, and it's a lottery, it's a draw. So you get your 10 days before the hunt, they notify you by online on the website, and they also mail you your reservation number, and it will say if you're number 1 through 75 or whatever. So you show up to the window and say, it doesn't really matter if it's free roam, meaning like anybody can go anywhere they want, even if it's on top of each other. But what really matters is when it's pit blinds and it's areas to where only you can hunt this specific pond, like assigned ponds. And I have a number 1. That means I get the best of the best pick. I get the first pick, and I go pick that spot, and no one else can get it.
Now, how do they determine like the best spots? Is it just experience, or is there a report or anything like that you can go by? Or
some refuges, it's experience. You wouldn't know unless you knew. But other times, a lot of refuges will post the numbers out of those areas. So that's all guys do. They'll show up and say, oh, wow, they shot 3 limits out of this spot last weekend. So it takes all the guesswork out of it. It's a really good place for like newer hunters to go, if they don't know. Cool. But that doesn't always mean everything. Like that one hunt that we had that was awesome last year, and we all shot almost 4 limits, was the number. There's a certain blind there that always does good, no matter what, even if it don't show good on numbers. Because you got to remember, people that probably hunted it the prior week could not have shot good. Just because they didn't kill 3 limits, if there's 3 guys in there, does not mean there wasn't enough birds. Yeah.
Now you guys have shell limits though too, right?
What's that?
You have shell limits?
Yes, 25 per person. Okay. And you can walk out and get another box, but that's all you can take in at once. But some refuges, they have shell limits where you can't. That's all you can shoot for the whole day. Which to me it doesn't help that refuge have more birds. I think their thoughts are, if we do that, it'll save it and be a better place to hunt. But they also have a time cutoff of noon. So either way, it's like, I don't know. But
I mean, if you're shooting 25 shells and not getting your birds, you pretty much scared them all away anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, like you just need to go home. And I've
Yeah.
had that happen once or twice. But anyways, so you get that
Me too.
you get that spot, and you know for 10 years that spot does incredible, but no one picks it because there was 3 hunters last week and they only shot 3 birds. But you know good and well that spot shoots really good. It's because those guys didn't shoot good. And that's exactly what happened. Nobody picked that spot because there was like 4 or 5 birds killed. We go in there and we shoot 4 limits, you know. So that's the advantage of knowing a place, but also you do see the numbers, that which doesn't always mean it's the best.
Yeah.
So for you, buddies showing up late, how do you deal with that?
Well, like I said, usually I hunt with my dad. So it's usually my dad who's showing up late. I'm always ready. He seems to always be like, there's this town by my house called Union Grove. And my dad lives about 40 minutes from my house. So Union Grove is like the halfway point. He seems to always be in Union Grove when he's supposed to be here. And I think that just means he woke up when I called him to make sure he woke up and he's coming. You know what I mean? So I'm leaving right now, but really he's leaving 20 minutes later.
He sounds all chipper when he answers it, but you know he just woke him up.
Yeah, exactly. So I've actually learned my dad, and I've learned that if I want to be to our spot, and this is like mostly when we hunt local stuff, because when we're out on the river, we camp together anyway. So
yeah,
we're together. So we're not usually running late because we just won't be. But it's like when he's got to drive to my house and then we hunt some local fields and stuff I have permission on for goose season. That like seems when it happens a lot. So I just tell him we got to be out there by like 30 minutes earlier than we actually have to be out there, and then we're running on time.
Let me ask you this though, Chase, has he caught on to that?
He has not yet.
Don't let him listen to this podcast.
One day last year, he's like, I called him in the morning. He's like, yep, I'm on my way. I ended up just leaving him. Like I left him. He knew where I was hunting. I was hunting with another buddy that day too. He gets there after we set up all the decoys, after we're ready to go. We actually already shot a goose. That's when he showed up.
Oh my goodness. So you've actually pulled the trigger and had to leave.
I had to leave that day. Yeah. And I was like, dude, I can't take this, Dad. Yeah.
No, I agree. I've been so close. I've been like pulling out while the person pulls in. It's like, dude, you're lucky because I can't. Like you said, I will miss that, especially like you guys put in those public land spots. If you don't beat the guys out there, your whole morning's ruined.
Yeah, true.
So yeah.
And I will say though, like the only time we really deal with a lot of people at those public land spots that we hunt are when it's opening weekend. Otherwise, we have really good luck. We can get away from people. People stay away from us.
That's good.
That opening weekend is just insane. I hate hunting it, but I also love hunting it because it's like the start of duck season. You know?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like the worst day and the best day to hunt because it's officially started, but it's like dealing with all those people. It's crazy.
Yeah. And the only other time we really dealt with a lot of people is a few years ago. We had just so many ducks in this area that we hunt. It was loaded with ducks. My dad and I shot our limits the first day, which was like a Thursday or a Friday. And then that Saturday morning, there was a lot of people in there. I don't think those ducks were hunted all week, but people knew they were there. So I think word gets out. A lot of locals showed up and they were hunting. We made a mistake. We hunted the wrong spot that morning. And we still shot, I think, 6 or 7 ducks. We have a 6 duck limit, but you can only shoot 4 mallards in Wisconsin.
Right.
So I think we shot like 7 or 8 ducks total. And I think we shot a couple teal and some mallards and stuff. I don't remember. But where we should have sat, those guys shot their 3-man limit in like 20 minutes. It was wild.
Wow.
Yeah. It was like 200 yards from us.
Yeah.
What happened was the night before they were coming in, landing in this little creek and then paddling up and feeding back in the woods. So we went and set up where they're all landing. We should have went and sat up right where they're actually feeding because the next morning they were just, thousands of birds were just playing in this little, probably 100 by 200 foot hole in the middle of the woods. It was kind of cool. It was a little flooded and stuff.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Chase, appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you being here and on the podcast, and it was great talking to you. And I learned some stuff too on this. So I love talking to people, especially from different areas, because you learn so many different things about stuff you don't think about. We get so caught in the mindset. I try not to do this, but I know our conversations a lot of times evolve around, California, and it's so different in so many other places. So it's good hearing from you in your neck of the woods.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. It was good talking to you.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. And we'll be having you on again. And I'd like to do some updates this duck season too. I want to have more guys on and kind of just a weekly update thing and keep the podcast rolling heavy. Last year I just kind of dropped the ball because editing and stuff like that. But this year I got big plans to try to pump out 2 a week updates and guests and stuff like that. So it should be a good time. I'll definitely have you on again.
Awesome. Sounds good, Titus.
All right, guys, check him out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Sorry, I was already going to say your name, Chase.
That was my name, Chase. Yeah.
But somewhere in Wisconsin. And thanks for coming on, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.